Hi, Leah. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing well, thank you. It's so good to
Good.
see you.
Thank you.
It's
You
fun that we
too.
do a greeting and then we do a greeting, but it doesn't feel any less genuine just to greet you again and say, hi, how are you? With a little bit more space than when we're getting ready to go on.
Right. So, the question that came up was why do we wear so many different masks
Mhm.
in different relationships? The question that we often get asked. And I thought it was an interesting one for us to explore.
Yeah,
How do you see that whole topic of the masks we wear?
I'm going to actually hold on that and ask you, how do you see it?
So, I see it as based on our safety.
Hmm.
If we can take, the more we can take off our masks, the safer we feel, the more we can rest, and the
Hmm.
more we can emerge and
Love that.
and
So
become who we're supposed to
safety
be.
allows us to rest and emerge.
And the more we can do that, we can emerge and become who we're supposed to be. Because I believe the reason we armor up and put on our masks
Mhm.
is really because of our fear that if I show you who I really am, you won't love me. And the more I feel safe, the more I can take off my mask. That's how I see it.
Yeah. So from what you're saying, the mask is for the sake of hiding who I might not want you to, what I might not feel safe showing you of who I am. When I
Yeah,
can take that mask off, then I feel safe. Then I can emerge and become who I'm meant to be.
because wearing that mask takes a lot of energy.
Yes. I think sometimes there's also the mask that we create to show who we think, how we think we're supposed to show up in a particular place.
Hmm.
So maybe it isn't always necessarily a holding back, but it's a filter. Or so I'm only
Is
going to
that
show
not
the
the same
negative
thing
window.
that you're saying? That's
But
very interesting the way you're putting it, and I'm hearing the same thing that I'm creating this mask of how I want to show up,
yeah,
and there's something about me that's hiding behind.
yeah. So there's two sides to it. My daughter in a Rosh Chodesh group, a girls group one year, they were
What kind of a
talking about
group?
this for teenagers. So they had a female group that would get together around the new moon. It was a Jewish group,
Hmm.
and um, there were they did a mask project around the time of Purim when we would wear masks. And on the outside, what's the part of you you're showing to the world? And on the inside, what's the part of you you're keeping for yourself or you're hiding to yourself? Because that mask has two sides. And
Beautiful.
there's the thing we're hiding. But you know what was striking to me thinking about it this morning was the thing that came to mind for me immediately wasn't the mask I felt I had put on, but it was how invisible I felt
Hmm.
there, where they didn't feel like they could see me. It was almost like whatever I did, and I'm sure I was doing things that blocked me from emerging, I didn't feel safe enough. So I think that's a key point that you make there. But whatever it was, they were also seeing me through their lens. And their lens didn't feel or sound or resonate in any way. So I felt completely invisible, like they were looking at someone else.
That's such a beautiful distinction that the other, let's say, can't see me,
Hmm.
but I'm also showing up as invisible. There's both. They can't see me, but I'm hiding something, or I'm blocking something as well. So they can't see me. And I hear this a lot with clients where they've always felt invisible in their families of origin. And now they
Uh-huh.
show up and they'll say, I'll go out, and people kind of just ignore me. They don't talk to me or they push in front of me. I feel invisible. Those are the words that come out. And it's a
Yes.
very familiar feeling to them.
So I'm less aware when I think back, especially I'm thinking back into this is my 20s. So I'm thinking back there and earlier. The invisibility that I felt was not a mask I was aware of. but the ones that felt like that deflection and dismissiveness that comes from the adults or the people in your world when you start to talk about the things that matter or you show emotion, people want to start to fix your problem. My house growing up, and I know why now, and I totally understand it. So without judging, just descriptive as my parents, very typical of other parents, would be dismissive. Oh, that shouldn't upset you. And my father sometimes would go out of his way to show me how silly something I was upset about. I came home and talk about fighting with a friend, and I felt made fun of. And don't remember what I asked, but he said, well, I just wanted you to see how silly it was. Right. But it didn't make me feel like, oh, now I see how silly it was. It made me feel really small, really invisible. And
so it sounds like unheard is almost synonymous with invisible. And the more you yell and scream, it's almost like you're behind this glass. Yeah. The other can't necessarily see you or hear you.
You don't feel heard, but what I've also learned is it doesn't mean you weren't heard. Often when people dismiss or deflect or try to solve or come in with something that's not where you are, it's not because they haven't heard you. It's because whatever they heard made them feel something, and now they're doing whatever they need to do because of where it made them go. It's like a chemical reaction that creates a number of changes. So. But the consequence, I was just writing about this yesterday, so it's definitely forward in my mind. The consequence is that we will feel invisible. And the times where I have most felt masked, it was because I felt that invisibility. Other people, nobody will ever say I was invisible. People from those times in my life have still told me I was impactful in some way. And in certain ways, like with the children as a teacher, I was with the adults, but yet I've heard from adults who felt it. And that surprises me because I felt invisible. And I think one of the lessons I've learned is even if you don't think you're being seen behind your mask, you may very well be. So how do you bridge that? What's the question? What's the thing you ask that helps you get the reflection back that you need? So that you know that you can be seen. And then when we can feel seen, we don't feel the need to put that mask on, whether it's one we create or whether it's one that we feel has been created for us by the other. I was definitely an other in that situation. I was a foreigner in many ways.
Right. So,
yeah.
That's amazing distinction, because what you're bringing up for me, when you speak about like the way I show up impacts the other person and impacts me. It's like I feel you feeling me, feeling you.
That's right.
Out there, it's moment to moment being streamlined.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling and hearing you, hearing me, hearing you. It's back and forth.
Yeah.
And that's what we often think of relationships as being something out there, but it's not a thing. It's a live moment-to-moment update.
I think so. And at live moment-to-moment update is energy. And I think I talk a lot of conversations. And I think it's the energy we're giving back and forth. So when we receive energy that doesn't feel comfortable, because this person is under a dark cloud, whether it's valid or not, we don't always think they're under a dark cloud. How can I show up ready to sunshine? We think dark cloud, escape dark cloud, deflect dark cloud. We start to do what's going to make it work for us with the dark cloud. That makes the other person feel, look how they're behaving towards me. The cloud gets darker. And I think I would use the analogy of emotions and that kind of energy to the weather and the wind, the rustle in the leaves. But it is a back and a forth. When you work in theater, you really can feel that, because when you work and you're open and you're working with the other person, the biggest thing you do as an actor is allow yourself to receive whatever energy they're sending to you. And it's your job when the uncomfortable emotion arrives to let it land and show up on you. You're a screen so that the audience can see it and relate to it. And that was where I really struggled as an actor, that was the part that was hard for me to let go, to allow those feelings to show up, because the armor of protecting myself from having those feelings show up had become so strong and so hardened. And what
beautiful,
I said was emote and show off and perform. And
yet you were behind a mask, because you weren't showing up as yourself, you're showing up as another persona. So that's a very interesting distinction. Well, as always, great. Pardon?
We're very good at creating personas as human beings. We're very good at it. And we often tend to think, the last thing I would want to say about that is roles. I was just having a conversation about how we can often fall into parent roles. And that's the way that's a mask. Put on your,
I spoke to someone about that today.
Really cold is the mask of, I'm the parent, I'm being in charge, I'm telling you what to do, I'm keeping you safe, covers the vulnerability, and I'm just using I don't want you to get sick. I care about you, right? It's so we use roles as a way to cover up the underlying humanity beneath.
Right, beautiful. That will be another topic. The roles we step into.
The roles. I just added it as I think we wear a lot of masks because of the roles we think we're stepping into.
Right. Leah, thank you so much. We're off for a little vacation, so we will reconnect
later in the summer. We'll figure out the dates when we're both back.
Exactly. We'll let you know, and we'll be back. But we're taking a break, and we invite you to take a break too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.